Hi, and welcome.
I'm Z,
And I'm Keith.
and we're going to tell you about the movie that we just watched. But first, a little bit of a heads up.
Some of the movies we watch deal with heavy subject matters.
In order to talk about these emotionally delicate things and the heavy subject matters that we sometimes cover, we had humor and crude language to add some levity and to process our own trauma.
If that doesn't feel fun or safe for you, we completely understand. Please take care of yourself first and foremost.
And we spoil the end of pretty much every movie that we watch.
Now you know. On with the show.
Oh, completely different. Notes? Notes? I don't even notes her.
More notes? More like nope. Vote nope in this election.
Hi and welcome.
Hi!
Welcome.
No monkey!
Welcome to the Z and K movie podcast. You can find us on Spotify.
All over the goddamn
You
interwebs.
can find us on Apple Podcasts.
Abba-ba-ba-bears.
You can find us
Boots
on
with the fur.
YouTube. You can find us on Instagram. You can find a very, oh my God, what did you did?
Hit this
I
and then, oh.
I saw, but
You
I
don't
didn't. Well,
actually- you know.
no, I knew what you did. I didn't know how you did. I meant like, what did you did to cause it to happen? Just like that
I just
pharmacist
moved.
asked about my yeast infection that one time. I don't know what you did to cause this to happen to you. So professional.
Man, let me tell you, misogyny is so dead.
It was a woman too.
I know.
Oh, okay.
That was going to be my follow-up. It's
That even women
You know
do.
it's dead because
Yeah. I love
women's
that
are only
pharmacy.
supportive of other women. Or, never mind. You get my jokes.
I loved that pharmacy so much because
That was also the same one where they were like, hey, your birth control's ready.
And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't care, but I'm like, people are like voting against, like, people literally would think I'm a murderer. Like, some crazy people would think I'm a murderer because I'm taking birth control.
Or because you got rid of that yeast infection.
Exactly. I don't know what you did to
Vegans,
cause this
for
to happen
instance.
to you.
Speaking of vegans,
Yeah.
on the day we're recording, yesterday was the anniversary of the bombing of the Move House at, I think, 6221 Osage in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Yeah.
The bombing was in 1985.
1985, the year I was born, 10 days
I know.
before my birth.
Oh, that's right. Jesus.
Yep.
I only just put together that. And I have to think, I'm pretty sure Bunny's the one that, because they post about this
they
every
post
year.
about it every single year. Yeah.
Bless them. And I think that was my introduction to it. It's, most people don't know. It's pretty, I mean, like, I don't know how, I mean, there's a commemoration day, I think, every year in Philadelphia. I don't know how
Yeah.
big that is, but anyway, they sent me a video earlier in the week, right, I think Thursday, because one of the kids of the original members who were in the house
Yeah.
just was able to repurchase that particular house.
Oh my God. Wow.
I mean, it's clearly the different
Right,
house
yeah,
because
no, but that-
the whole fucking block burned
yeah.
down. But,
It was literally bombed.
Yeah, but it's the same address.
Yeah. Wow.
And he was,
Like the same plot of land, essentially.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's been rebuilt.
Right. Yeah. But like, yeah.
It's an actual home.
Yeah. No, I know. I just mean like it was the same area of land that the house was previously on is the same one that's on now.
Right. And yeah, I know he was born in prison.
Wow.
Like the only survivor. His mom is like,
Wow.
well, no, maybe they were already in jail.
A quick correction/clarification. Mike Africa Jr. is whom recently made moves to reacquire the property at 6221 Osage Avenue. He is the child of Debbie Africa, who was given a life sentence along with 8 others, the so-called Move 9, after a shootout with police in 1978. A link to a recent Democracy Now! Segment covering Move that includes an interview with Mike Jr. can be found in this episode's notes.
Because only 2 people survived the bombing.
Jesus.
One of them died later, not soon after, of their burns, 3rd-degree burns.
Yeah.
A 13-year-old.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And the other one died in prison.
Anyway, just so you know, that was like, was it the FBI that did it? Who did it?
No, it was the Philadelphia police.
Police, okay. No, but I mean, like, it was done by us. Like, the U.S., like, they did it to themselves.
Yes.
Like, like when people talk about, like, how things like that don't happen here, yes, they do.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. 85.
And
it's not that long
yes.
ago.
Close to, but not quite 40
so
years.
this guy who bought, I'm like, oh, yeah, he's your age because.
Yep. Because it was the year I was born. It was literally 10 days before I was born. 1985. And that's how I remember it every year when I'm like, oh, my birthday. I'm like, oh, right, 10 days before my birthday is the anniversary of.
My segue is because they were big animal rights. Move as an organization. One of their things was animal rights.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, as soon as you get into, like, the philosophy of the the organization, it starts to sound like a cult.
Right, yeah.
And, I'm not saying it's not, but...
Right, yeah.
The point being, if it's not apparent, because we're talking about the U.S., they were all black.
Yeah, right, yeah. And
it was meant to be a black liberatory movement.
Yeah.
And, like, they all changed their names. Mm-hmm. They weren't necessarily blood related,
right.
So it was definitely a...
Right, yeah.
Communal effort to, just fucking support each other in a system that...
Wouldn't.
For doing so, it's not going to otherwise, and if you try, apparently...
Clearly, you won't be allowed to,
Anyway. So...
But it's set in Philadelphia, which is the setting of The Sixth Sense.
That's right. That was the other reason. Thank you.
Yeah. And... Yeah. There's no mention of that in this film, though.
Oddly.
I know, it's crazy.
Are there any black characters?
Yeah. I mean, there's the woman on the tape that's talking to when Malcolm's wife is watching the wedding tapes
that's right.
over and over, and then
Anna, played by Olivia Williams.
Yeah.
Just showing off.
Yeah. Because I always want to call her Olivia Colman. I know that that's not her name, but her name's Olivia, and
it's
Olivia.
Jingoist.
Her name's Olivia, and right, that's
whatever.
Exactly what it is.
She has such a specific face.
Yeah, I always felt like that was like a similar look to me, not in the sense of we look alike, but that like the similar coloring and sort of like,
There's something very youthful, like out.
Yeah.
Almost uncannily.
Yeah, that's why I always felt like
that was.
Because as we discussed before,
you look like an infant.
I have the face of like a child, not in the same way Haley Joel Osment does. Walker told me.
That's the thing is that like watching this now. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, but his features, he kind of looks old for his age in a way.
As a kid, yeah,
as a kid. So anyway.
Apparently he got the part for 3 reasons. One, because this was like the trivia is like, one, he was the right choice for it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's, yeah. Mm-hmm. 2, he wore a tie to the audition, which was kind of adorable. And the third reason, the third reason was he said that he read it. He said that he had read it 3 times, like before it to prepare for the audition. And M. Night was like, you read your part 3 times. And he said, no, I read the
Whole
script
script.
3 times.
Jesus.
Yeah. And like, he was like, I read it 3 times last night. And M. Night was like, oh, he's like, that's impressive. You read your part 3 times. And he was like, no, I read the whole script 3 times. So, yeah. And honestly, like, you know, people.
Teacher's pet. Fucking suck up.
That's 100% me, though. That's 100% something that I would have done.
Yeah. No, I relate to.
Yeah. And I would have been.
Not anymore. I would.
I
can't read to
for
save
sure.
my life.
I know. Now they'd be like, can you read this script? And I'd be like, is it heterosexual activity in there? Because I don't really care. Now it's like, if it's like a guy and a girl, I'm like, no, I don't want to read that. Sorry, I don't want to read it. I'm not interested. Even though, like, that's not. Anyway. Donnie Wahlberg stars in
Unrecognizable.
One scene. I know.
Even now.
I know.
Especially now.
I know. I didn't know it was him. I mean, I really didn't know who this was really what made me know who Donnie Wahlberg was. But finding out, I was like, that's Mark Wahlberg's brother and also looks nothing like himself. He lost like 43 pounds. And I mean, he's in this scene for like a few minutes. And the thing is, like, I mean, I kind of fucking hate the Wahlbergs, especially Mark Wahlberg, because he's a piece of shit and he's a racist and he's trying to open a casino so that he can avoid getting a liquor license. He's trying to open a casino on like Indian land.
Oh, okay.
So that he can get a liquor license, because you're able to do that without like
Right, with it.
because he's not allowed to get a liquor license because of the hate crime that he was convicted of. So he's trying to open a casino on like Indian land so that he can get a liquor license without like basically get around that.
Right.
So fuck this dude. Fuck everything about him. He's literally committed hate crimes. He's a piece of shit. Fuck Mark Wahlberg. Anyway, that's my personal opinion of him. But Donnie Wahlberg, he does such a good job in this movie. Like, I don't think Mark Wahlberg is very good. I think Mark Wahlberg is more like, as far as acting goes, I think he can be funny.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't think he does a lot of
I don't know if
acting.
Donnie's done anything else.
Yeah, he has. Oh,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, this set him off, but yeah. He's been in TV. He's done a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
But
Is Mark on a cop show, or was he?
I think Donnie was.
It was Donnie.
Yeah.
My next guest is a founding member of New Kids on the Block and a star of Blue Bloods here on CBS. Please welcome back to The Late Show, Donnie Wahlberg.
They look so similar to me. I know. I mean, not. He's still on. I would not even.
I know.
He does not look like a Wahlberg.
No. Now he does. Now that he's turned back
normal
into himself.
weight.
Yeah. Now that he's turned back into himself. But yeah, like the way that he performs the part, the way that he does it, it's actually like such a beautiful and like emotional performance, and it says so much, and it's literally like 2-3 minutes, like maybe 5 minutes. It's such a short scene, and it's so insane. Like, it's so fucking insane.
So fucking.
How like impactful that scene is, and like, I didn't know about, like, you don't know, like, that's the thing. I think that scene is more shocking than anything, because you don't know going in, like, you know, you're like, oh, it's a scary movie, but like, you know, they're having this anniversary dinner, and then this man is in their house screaming at them naked, and you're just like, what the fuck? And you don't know, and you don't get it until like you start basically, you know, seeing Cole and understanding that, you know, he wasn't crazy. I mean, he was, but you know, he didn't start out crazy, you know, he was made that way by Dr.
Do you have any, because I don't know, I mean, you're more of a, I always forget about the Y in his last name.
It's just Shyamalan.
I know, but.
The Y is silent.
Fine, but Shyamalan?
Shyamalan.
Anyway.
Yeah.
This was his first big thing, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's how I remember it. I just wanted to make sure
100%.
that he... Okay. And his name's all over. I love it. There's so many credits before anything happens, and then at the end, the first thing that happens is...
Apparently, apparently, so this is interesting to find out. This is probably why it's not available to stream and you can only buy it. It was made by Disney.
Oh,
This is a
okay.
Disney film. And that's why Bruce Willis was in it, because he was like obligated to do like
Really?
a Disney film, because like he ended up, I guess because like he'd tanked or something, like he caused like a production to be shut down on a film. So he, I guess, ended up owing Disney 2 movies and or something
Weird.
like that. And he
Was it Look Who's Talking?
no, he was
8.
actually in there.
8 through 12.
So
K through 12.
so he fuck off. So he and I guess he took like a pay cut to be in it too,
Damn.
or something like that. Because of obligation. But I mean, it wasn't that like he had no choice but to be in this film, but that's like one of the reasons I think why he was actually in it. But interestingly enough, it was basically like one of the people from Disney, like as soon as they read the script, they bought the rights to it without getting any they literally just bought it. And
Smart.
even though it came with like, it was an expensive script, and it came with the stipulation that M. Night would direct it as well. And even so,
Wow.
they immediately purchased it.
It was just that good.
And it was apparently a sleeper. It was a sleeper hit, meaning like
Yeah.
they didn't I mean, not that they didn't advertise it, but it wasn't like on a list. Of
It wasn't
summer
their
movie.
main.
Yeah, it wasn't anything that people were like, "Oh, you have to see this film." Like nothing like that. Also, it aired. Not it aired. It came out. The only movie that beat it out basically was Star Wars Episode 1,
In
The Phantom Menace.
in how?
In like budget,
box
like
office?
basically the only movie that outperformed
Jesus
it
Christ.
was Star Wars. Yeah, and it debuted at the same time of a little other film called Stir of Echoes that you'll be surprised tanked because of it. So, and Stir of Echoes, like its failure is basically blamed on competing with
success
The
of-
Sixth
yeah.
Sense and Star Wars. Yeah.
Like they all came out the same weekend?
Yeah. Or something like that, or around the same time.
Fudge.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I
Or maybe
remember it's
Stir
like-
of Echoes came out like a week after or something like that. So like The Sixth Sense had already
When did this come out?
1999.
99. Okay.
Yeah. And then one of the trivia was like, "This is M. Night Shyamalan's final film of the millennium," and I'm like,
That's good. I like that.
"Fuck off."
That's good shit.
I'm a fan of M. Night. Like, I don't know. I was watching this movie and I was like, yeah, I mean, apparently, like, and I think this makes sense. Apparently, Toni Collette didn't know it was supposed to be a scary movie until she, like,
Oh, interesting.
watched it, like, until it came out. And she was like, oh, because it was so emotional. Like, the movie is so emotionally, like,
Yeah.
raw, basically. And it's so, she just thought it was like, you know, happened to be about ghosts or whatever. And I think it's really, it's really like the thing I think, like, people are like, "Oh, he's dead, blah, oh, who cares?" And I'm like, okay, fine. I don't care about that. Like, this movie is rewatchable, not because of
No, yeah, and to its credit, absolutely. That's, I think, its strength is that
Right.
I've seen it before, so I know the
right.
twist.
Yeah,
Still thoroughly engaging.
exactly.
Like,
And it gives you things to pay attention to. Like, once you find out, even if you like, and it's, I mean, as much as like, I'm not saying that M. Night Shyamalan doesn't do good twist endings or like doesn't have, you know, I don't always guess it. I don't always know, you know, sometimes I do, whatever. I didn't guess. I don't know. Like, I remember I was like thinking about this last night, like a couple people being like, yeah, he was dead. I guess that like immediately I could tell. And I felt so dumb about it. I was like, oh my God, I'm such an
No.
idiot. I didn't guess he was dead. I was 14 when the movie came out.
Yeah, right.
Okay, big deal. I didn't guess it. Sorry. Like, I probably would have guessed it had I been like 16 or 17 or even, you know,
Yeah.
or even 18 or 19. So it's just
Yeah.
like, I was like, whatever. I was a kid, you know, they do make it obvious, but like at the same time, they don't, because they make it so emotional. Like you're so invested in the emotions of people that you're almost not really. It's similar to how Mike Flanagan does stuff. It's not scary so much because of the literal jump scares that are happening. It's scary
Right.
because you care about the people and you don't
Exactly.
want them to get
Right.
hurt.
Like, I don't really care about Bruce Willis's arc, you know,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
character
yeah,
arc.
yeah.
But it's still compelling. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the thing. Like, again, like, I know we harp on this, but it's like, if I don't give a shit about the characters, I don't give a shit about anything that
Correct.
happens. Like,
Exactly.
if I'm not emotionally involved in,
Right.
and you're emotionally involved, like, I felt emotionally connected, or like I could relate to almost every character,
Right,
you know, that
exactly.
you get any
Yeah.
time with.
And that's the thing, like, and this is something like I think M. Night Shyamalan, like people will shit on his dialogue, and maybe it's the tism, I don't know, but like I love how he writes dialogue so much, because he'll just write the most bonkers shit. But it feels like an actual conversation that you're walking into, where you're like, why are they talking about this? But you're like, this is exactly how walking into a family and you
Yeah.
being like, I don't know that I get this joke, but it's clearly like they're
joke
in on
between
it,
them,
you know,
yeah.
or like,
Yeah.
you know, you're like, okay, well, but it doesn't feel like it's being made up for fake banter. It feels like he really made these characters. He created an actual inside joke for them, you know, and there's
Right.
such a thing he does. And I don't know, I enjoy the way he writes dialogue and the way that he, like, it's performed specifically, because I think also because it's not, he doesn't really do the thing where he dances around saying something. You know, he asks direct questions, and like, because like when Cole is saying, I see dead people, it doesn't stop there. It's not like Bruce Willis being like, oh,
Yeah, right.
goodness. He's like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, I see dead people. And he's like, you mean in your dream?
Time.
In your dreams? While you're awake? Dead people like in graves and coffins?
Walking around like regular people. They don't see each other. They only see what they want to see. They don't know they're dead.
How often do you see them?
All the time. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Totally.
like asking these engaging questions that I think if someone else had written it, it wouldn't necessarily have, like, it would be the thing. And this is something we talk about. Drives me fucking crazy. I blame the tism. It's the thing where you see a conversation
Yeah.
and nothing is directly said.
Okay.
And then they're like, you said, and then they quote
yes.
something that never
Yes.
happened in the conversation.
Yes.
And I'm like,
Yes.
that didn't happen. You never actually said that. That was not stated. They're like, they told me that they didn't want to be with me anymore. And I'm like, that was not stated. That was not stated. You cannot say that they said that, because they never actually said that. They
Right.
said like they weren't happy. They said that they felt like, you know, they weren't being listened to, but like
And it would be
they
different.
never said.
It would be different if you said, well, they said this, but they meant this.
Exactly. Or if you said like we tried to have a conversation, but I felt like they were just telling me. No,
Right.
you're not saying that. You're
God damn it.
girl.
I felt like I kept feeling like, and I don't want to make this like this is language that reviewers might use to say something is superior, and that's not what I'm doing.
Okay,
I don't know my feelings about it.
Okay.
But now that, well, first of all, it wasn't until watching this movie that for whatever reason I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever really thought about his films as horror.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
And I'm like, why is that? I guess just because it's sort of it feels more mainstream in a way.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I don't know what that means yet.
Yeah.
To myself.
Yeah.
He's gotten more attention than a lot of horror,
Correct. Yes.
mainstream
Correct.
attention. Anyway, yeah, but watching and again, this is, I feel pretty sophomoric when it comes to especially horror. Like it's still a new genre, and
Right.
there's, however many decades of film history for me to catch up on.
Yeah.
But this movie feels, and I think this connects to the mainstreamness of it. To me, it feels like it's in a sort of very specific but different tradition, if you will, or it has a different lineage of, like, Hitchcock, of course, comes to mind. But like, to me, it felt very like not too long ago, I watched a film called fucking, I don't know, The Night of the Eagle or some shit like that, where the premise, and it's from the 60s and it's black and white and
Yeah.
it's very middle class British, or no, maybe it's American. I don't remember. But it's like the wife is a witch.
Yeah.
And that's the whole
Yeah.
tension.
Yeah.
A nighttime of terror when a man's beliefs were shattered for all time.
The tension is that the supernatural might exist. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
nothing super, by
Yeah.
today's standard,
Yeah.
scary happens. There's no gore at all, you
Yeah.
know, blah, blah, blah. But, like, it's very, I guess that's what people mean by atmospheric
Yeah.
horror a lot of
Right.
time,
Yeah,
where it's
yeah,
just tense.
Right. Yeah.
You can feel the character's tension, and that's the,
Yeah.
like a lot of it's psychological anyway, that's what I kept thinking. That's a way, for me, that was like a way, an adjustment of framing for how to watch his films of like,
Yeah.
again, I never really necessarily thought of them as horror,
Yeah.
like Signs, I guess you could call it sci-fi, but it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
same
for sure.
shit,
I love Signs, man. I fucking love that movie.
But yeah, if I look at it through coming from that lineage rather than
yeah.
American slashers or what have you,
Yeah.
then, or, other just contemporary mainstream, I don't know, drama.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all. That was a new connection I made for myself. And then
Yeah. No, I think, yeah.
give me a new appreciation. And overall, I'll say that, like, yeah, I was surprised by, I'm glad like when you, when you made your picks for this month, I was like, oh God, I've seen all these movies. They're all movies I would never probably choose to watch again because I feel like I get it.
I get it.
And now I'm like very glad that you
Yeah. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
rewatch all of them because I'm like, wait, have I seen what Crying Game, Lambs, this,
The Professional. You saw
The
it, right?
Professional, yeah.
You've seen all of them.
yeah,
Yeah, I think rewatching it because I hadn't seen it, but like I knew this is one of those movies. Like I said in the lobby, I watched this over and over and over and over and over and over and over because I really admired. I know, where's it coming from?
yeah.
It's coming from all around us. I really admired, something that I really admired in, when I was younger, I really wanted to be a screenwriter, but I was really interested in people who wrote and directed their own stuff, especially people who were actually in it too, and he cameos. So I was like, ooh la la. And I was really, influenced by this film, in a lot of ways, but it was mainly, I think, I felt like Cole in a lot of ways, the kid. What?
Just keep hitting the mic in all different ways.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear it in the microphone this time. In the headphones.
I just,
But, Cole's called a freak and everybody's so fucking mean to him. And he's just such a geeky little outsider, and he's poor and all this
Right.
stuff. And it's just like, fucking Tommy Thomasimo. They do such a good job making you fucking hate that kid. He's just a fucking
That
little
is really
kid,
good.
and
That is a
fucking.
good through line.
I goddamn love the cough medicine scene
When they show the commercial.
My God, it's so good, and he just throws his fucking shoe at the TV to shut. It's so fucking funny to me, and it's one of those things where I just related so much to that sort of like the painfulness of being older than you are because of circumstances that people don't understand. And seeing things other people don't see, like when you have trauma, when you're neurodivergent, a lot of times you see patterns, you see things that other people don't see, other people don't notice, and you don't.
And you get dismissed when you try to.
Yes, you get dismissed, but you also get mocked and made fun of. Like nobody cares about that.
Not just dismissed, but punished.
Yeah, nobody cares about that. You're thinking about it too much. Like, what are you talking about? No one thinks about that, And so you're like, okay, I can't talk about these things. And so like there was so much that I related to with that character, So like his pain, his his pain, his
isolation.
Yeah, it was so visceral, and like the way, like the things that they do. I think something that M. Night Shyamalan did so wonderfully in this movie was he made kids and adults be mean to Cole.
Yeah,
and he made Cole not afraid of being yelled at, not afraid of
getting in trouble.
Yeah, he made him afraid of being looked at that way that you look at, and it's
that's a good point.
And I used to do this like with my nieces and nephews.
Just stare at them.
No, fuck off. When she's like, look at my face, I used to do that. I'd be like, look at my face. And I would tell them something. And I think that whole like, look at my face, I think it's so beautiful. And it's like, that's what I'm talking about with the way that he writes. She's like, he doesn't do, that's not like a thing he puts in every single film. That's a thing he did with these characters where she's like, look at my face. And then she tells him something like, it's so sweet. And it's just so tender. And it's like the way that it's acted, the way you believe so much that Toni Collette is so desperate to help her kid and is trying so hard and does not know what to do.
Yeah, doesn't know. Yeah.
But is so consumed with love and care, and you believe
which you're always going to get me if it's a single mom.
Exactly. And it's like she cares so much and she's trying so hard, and it's and but you're with him. You're like, what if he tells her and it goes away? What if? So you're right there with him. You know why he's not saying it, and you wish that he could tell her. Like all these things that it's like ripping your heart out. And it's like it's a horror movie. I think if you're a horror fan or if you're someone that's like really into horror, this doesn't seem like a horror movie because there's not enough gore. It's not, but I think if you're someone who doesn't like horror, if you're someone who doesn't watch horror, this is going to be a nightmare for you to watch because of how emotionally drawn in you become.
But I would put this in if you're
timid about horror, definitely this is a movie that's going to hit.
I would put it in the category of like kind of spooky.
Yeah.
Where for me that's a term I use for, I know someone introduced this to me. I didn't come up with it myself. But like The Frighteners, I feel like they're like films that like if you want to dip your toes into the genre, they're a good, like low stakes.
Right.
Like there's other things going, like Frighteners is also a comedy, and it has that going for it. Right. So it's like you're not, the scary stuff gets broken up with humor. That's not really the case in this movie. I mean, it has humor.
It has some humor. It has some levity, but it's a very yeah.
But and it's kind of gory at times. Like some of the ghosts you see are
right,
fucking gross.
And I mean, if you have like emetophobia, this is going to be hard. It's a fear of vomit, or like you can't watch people vomit. That's going to be hard for you. Like the Misha Barton scene, that was hard for me as a kid. That was so where she's just like throwing up and just like
I feel much better now.
Yeah. But if you pay attention, like she says that to him, but when they're watching the tape, when the dad's watching the tape and the mom,
she says it then too.
She's like, she says, I'm feeling much better now.
It's time for lunch, Kira. I'm feeling much better now. That's so great, honey. It's time for your food. Can I go outside and eat this?
Oh, I don't know. You know how you get sick in the afternoons.
Yeah, this was a big thing because I'd found out about Munchausen by proxy before this. And so I was like, oh my God, I know exactly what's happening here. And I was like, so fucking, like, I was so fascinated by Munchausen by proxy when I found out about it as a kid. And I wanted to know everything about it. I don't know why that was a hyperfixation. I was like, the way the word sounded, I wanted to talk about it all the time. I wanted to learn everything I could about it. If I'd had the internet at that ripe young age, I would have.
We got to watch The Adventures of Baron von Munchausen. I mean, that's who it's named after.
Okay. Who's in it? What's it about?
I believe it's a Terry Gilliam jam.
Okay.
So.
Oh my God. The trivia kept being like, Bruce Willis is in 2 movies where where dead people are, where because in 12 Monkeys, he travels to the past. And the way that it describes it is like I'm gonna try to find the trivia because it's so the way that it's. I like 12 Monkeys a lot, and I think we should rewatch it.
I'd rewatch that. That was one I think I've talked about it. Like I watched it at the exact wrong moment.
Yeah, you might not.
Health.
It might not change your mind about it, but
that was before I was medicated. So
no, I know, but sometimes sometimes the first impression is all you need, and then you got that like, it's too much.
Yeah,
it's just too much.
And Terry Gilliam is really a mixed bag, I think. I mean, and I keep, it's hard not to now that Bruce Willis is hopefully retired because he has full-blown dementia.
Dementia.
Like,
yeah,
it's hard to not feel sad about like his career. Like he did a lot of shit, and like he got a lot of shit. Like people shit on him a lot, and mostly I just want to say kudos for all the chances he took like this. And I kept thinking like his character in this is his character from Death Becomes Her.
Yeah.
And Cole could have been played by Ed Norton.
What is happening?
Fight Club. And
the kid that plays the little sister whose face you never see, this is her only movie.
Nice.
That's so cool.
I thought it was going to be M. Night's kid or something.
Okay, second Bruce Willis film with a character called Cole who sees dead people. The previous was 12 Monkeys. Bridging distances in the Terry Gilliam movie, Cole saw dead people because he traveled back in time to ages previous to his present, years later of a pandemic which almost completely isolated planet Earth. But yeah.
Shout out to my niece. Nope. To my nephew. Gender's hard. Cisgender is hard. I have a nephew named Cole.
Oh, wow.
Looks a lot like Haley Joel.
Does he see dead people?
I don't know. We haven't spoken in a while.
Apparently, Michael Cera auditioned for the role of Cole, and his audition was the magic trick scene.
Okay.
And he didn't read the rest of the script, so he didn't know how it was supposed to be performed. So he did it all. He was like, I was a little too happy for that scene. I didn't realize. That's funny. Can you imagine Michael Cera?
I don't want to.
Cole? I know.
I refuse to.
I know.
Spend the mental energy.
Oh man, there was another trivia that I really wanted to because I was just like,
I loved the little touch of they both have that little bleached part of hair.
And that was done because when people go through like a traumatic thing or get really terrified, sometimes it causes like their hair to lose pigment. That's an actual
like
thing
Stephen
that
Toast.
That's Drake. Didn't you fall out of a tree?
Yeah, I fell out of a tree.
Yeah. And so that was done on purpose to imply that they both had gone through something traumatic. And they was, they saw dead people.
Retrospectively, now that you say that, it makes me think that like I'm glad Because a lot of movies would do something like Cole's trauma is just that his dad left. You know, it's not that his parents were killed in a car crash or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, and that doesn't seem to necessarily be the origin of his shining.
Right, yeah.
Or whatever. It's just born that way. I love that there's, I mean, again, I don't know if it's intentional, but I felt like there's some purposeful references to it. The red balloon.
Yeah.
And the stammering teacher.
Oh. At the beginning of the movie, Anna tells Malcolm that he sounds like Dr. Seuss. Mm-hmm. Like Malcolm, Dr. Seuss dedicated his life to children while never having any of his own. Like Malcolm, Dr. Seuss also. No, that would.
I like that Anna's making out on the job.
Yeah. Right. I like how she's like making out in front of the couple that she's selling a Burmese sapphire to.
Yeah, what?
I think this piece communicates a longing. I imagine that the woman who owned it loved a man that she couldn't be with.
Did he have wavy hair and chestnut eyes?
What?
But interestingly enough, what I like about that scene is that the window breaks and then you see Bruce Willis like taking off and he's gripping where he got shot. And I love that because it's like, I think what that's supposed to imply, like at the time you probably think he's just like, you know,
getting a stitch.
Yeah, getting a stitch, you know, because he, you know, did a little kicky. He did a little kick. But I think it's like,
or like sick from jealousy or whatever.
Yeah. And I think it's like, but really what's happening is he's getting angry or he's getting like close to, like he's afraid of seeing, you know, the reality of what's happening,
right.
You know, like that he's not really there. And it's like that he feels that pain because he was shot, he's dead. He knows that, you know, and he doesn't want to face that. And it's, yeah, I mean, there's so much about this movie that's really interesting. Oh God, I have to, there's one that's like,
I'll do my requisite complaint about movies that involve ghosts is that I always hate them because the rules are never established. Or if they are, they're always broken. Like,
yeah.
Again, you can chalk it up to the tism or what have you, but or just being a dick. They're usually, I mean, kudos to this movie because it keeps it vague-ish. Mm-hmm. And it's not terribly distracting to me, but.
Why are you doing your little Karen smile?
I don't know, because I'm Sharon.
Because Sharon is Karen? Fucking don't like you. Throughout the movie, Malcolm never moves any objects except the Latin dictionary, breaks the glass door of the jewelry store, and uses tape recorder. And he does not interact with anyone but Cole. For example, he never opens a door. The chair he sits in the restaurant with his wife is already pulled out. And when he reaches for the check, his wife just beats him to it. There's another one where...
That better be spoiler. That might be marked as a spoiler.
It is. It is marked as a spoiler. There's also... Oh, here we go. Oh, this is one. That one's just... The movie deliberately omits some parts that would reveal that Malcolm is dead before the ending twist. For example, Malcolm is seen riding on bus with Cole, but never is it seen how Malcolm pays for the ticket. At the anniversary dinner in the restaurant, no waiter comes close to Malcolm once he is seated with Anna to ask him if he wants to drink or eat something. When Cole comes home, it can be seen that Malcolm and Lynn sit down opposite each other, but they're not talking, and it is not seen how Malcolm got into the house. When Malcolm when Malcolm tries to open the door of his cellar, it is always closed, and Malcolm searches his pockets looking for the keys, but he is never seen opening the door with his keys. It is not seen how Malcolm hits the crystal of Anna's shop, which is cracked but not broken. The crystal of Anna's shop. I love that. Malcolm is never seen eating, drinking, sleeping, nor touching other people. And the most basics, after Vincent shoots him, he never talks to other people but Cole. In parentheses, and Anna for the ending twist, which is not true because he does talk to
He talks to people.
Yes.
Yeah.
He talks to Anna at the restaurant. Like, there's that whole scene at the restaurant where he's having a conversation with her and she fucking leaves.
Well, he's talking to her.
I'm saying he's having a conversation with her. He thinks he is, at least.
Which is telling.
I'm talking to my gun, not with it.
Exactly. Which I think that's the real death of the movie is their relationship.
I just I don't know.
I love she's like, all the sacrifices you've made.
Including
me.
Yeah.
This is an important night for us. Finally, someone is recognizing the sacrifices you've made. That you have put everything second, including me, for those families that they're talking about.
I don't know, it really got me, once he realizes he's dead, and there's just a scene where she's laying and she's just asleep, and he's standing, and he's just, standing in the house. So Sarah, that hit me so hard because I was I can't imagine being in that position and just knowing that this, I don't know, there was just something about how long that lasts where he's just standing there and you know that he's gone, he's not here, and he's just standing in his house looking at his sleeping wife. And I was just this is so that was a scene that it never really hit me as a kid, but I was just so devastated by it watching it now. I was just oh my God, it's so, and the fact I was it's so, what he had to do, what he had left to do was, it's kind of funny because he's you were never second, except for the fact that his whole thing when he came back to help Cole and not his wife. So maybe she was second. Hunty.
I needed to tell you something. You were never second. Ever.
That's my favorite part is that this is how he doesn't know,
Yeah, right. Because he's so consumed with Cole that he doesn't realize. Also, I don't remember if
he feels like they're drifting apart, but he doesn't realize that she's not at all interacting with him. At all. It's so not different than how they're
right. But Cole does say they only see what they want to see. So there is that thing where he's not
That's fair.
able to see it. But I do. There is. I can't remember. So little things are done. So I believe that I don't remember specifically. I don't remember if this is something that I've seen or if this is what the paperwork said. But the reason why he meets Cole, the reason why he sees Cole is because he was supposed to see him, but died.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he says that when they first talk in the church.
It's okay, Cole. My name is Dr. Malcolm Crowe. We were supposed to meet today, but I missed our appointment. Sorry.
I thought yeah. Right. So, I never got that I just, you just think that he's, you don't realize that he's literally seeing this kid because he was supposed to see
It was
the
on
kid. Yeah, it was on his fucking
calendar.
books
Yeah.
to see this kid, you know? So that's like crazy. That's like a really interesting, that's a really interesting thing. Also red is very significant. Like red is used in specific ways in this film. And
Cole's got that red sweater.
it's meant to.
There's the it balloon.
Yeah, there's the it
Anna's
balloon.
wearing red a lot of the time, isn't she?
Anna, she has like the red blanket
Red
on
blanket,
a lot
that's what
when
it is.
she's.
Okay.
But it's not just you. It's used like to signify something in the film. So like when Toni Collette is looking at the photos and she's seeing the shimmer, she's got red nails when she's touching all the. So it's like little tiny things. So it's not just about. It's about like a visual cue that you're supposed to see and understand that like this is a thing. Like his red tent.
Oh yeah.
And it's supposed to like signify like sort of a bridge between like
a presence.
Yeah, sort of.
A presence.
Like, presence. I play bubbles on the wire.
Oh fuck! What was I gonna say? I got all hung up. You remember? You remember? I was like, oh, I didn't realize they were the same person. What?
Oh yeah. Will you throw me my binky? Thank you so much.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you were like
bad toss.
It was a bad toss, but it
Because in the opening sequence with Wahlberg,
yeah, you see his white hair.
I thought yes, that was part of it. I thought his character's name was Friedkin, and I stuck on that because William Friedkin is directed The Exorcist.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I thought that was a little nod or something, and probably was, but like.
Yeah.
But I was convinced his name was Freakin', and he said they called me Freak, and I thought that was because the name Freakin'.
Oh, okay.
So then when Cole says they call me Freak,
Yeah.
I thought it was supposed to be Wahlberg as a child.
You did. You were like, I never remembered that it was him as a kid, and I was like, who is a kid? And you were like, Wahlberg, and I was like, it's not. And you were like, are you sure? I'm like, yes. You're like, how do you know that? And I'm like, it's.
You're like 6 months later, next
I was
fall
like,
or whatever.
it literally says.
Yeah.
I was like, they have different names, and you were like, wait, I was like, no, they're not the same person. They have different names. It says later.
I was doing too much work.
But honestly, that's probably a connection that I'm surprised that I never had that mistaken idea when I was younger, too.
Why?
Because they purposely make them look really similar.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm surprised I didn't think, But man, yeah, I don't know. This is like, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry. Why?
Because you were like, and I was like, oh, I was gonna like change the subject, and you were like, oh,
So was I. That's why.
Go.
I mean, we had sort of already covered this, but like, oh, and I was going to draw a connection to The Crying Game.
Oh.
In that these are movies that I think got upstaged by their big reveal.
Right.
But both of them share, to their credit, and this is why I'm glad I rewatched both of them, is that, they do a lot. I mean, that's not the only thing going for them.
Right.
And in fact, it's sort of a distraction.
Correct.
Like, maybe that's the intent of the filmmaker, was that.
Right.
And I don't know. Whatever. I mean, and I think people get like, I don't know who they are. I don't actually interact with these people, so it's all hypothetical, or conjecture. I feel like people shit on M. Night because of the twist thing.
Yes, correct.
Because I think it's like very, it feels heavy-handed in the like Rod Serling way.
Yes, correct.
Twilight Zone way,
Yes,
like that's and people are like, oh, eye roll.
Yeah,
I'm like, bitch, you're not better than that.
Exactly.
Like, just come on.
And that's the thing. Like, I guess most movies anyway. It's not like any movie with a twist ending.
Every Marvel movie, you're never surprised.
Right. I told you. I fucking told you in fucking Nope. He gets medicine. I was like, well, he's going to die. I was like, he's about to die because he just pulled medicine out of his pocket. And you're like, what? And I was like, anytime you see a character suddenly or for any reason get their medication from their pocket. I was like, they're about to die. I was like, that happens every single time. So it's like they're telling you this is going to happen. They're signifying it. I thought it was funny.
To me, it's like, I'm listening to
he didn't actually die from a heart attack though. So I was like, oh shit. It's my heart medication. Anytime like a character, anytime a middle-aged man says, "Oh, I got to get my heart pills,"
and you've not heard, it's never come up before.
Yeah. My heart pills are in the cupboard, and by the time they're back, they're like,
yeah. To me, it's the same as like, oh, this song I hear on the radio all the time is like, oh, I know that the chorus is coming up. Yeah, of course you do. You've heard, you know the formula. You can still like it.
Yeah.
It's still good.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Talk about vacation days.
But yeah, like that's the thing. Like I'm saying because I'm superhuman and I'm super special. I have super hearing and I have super minding. I
have super never minding.
I can guess the ending of most things and I'm not surprised most of the time. And nothing ever surprises me. I'm never shocked.
And that's why you love cinema.
And right.
That's why you're the ideal cinephile.
No, but what I'm saying is like
typical Redditor.
This is a typical Redditor.
I know. Sorry about that.
What I'm saying is,
I forgot. I was just going to say typical Reddit and forgot that I needed to add more.
Typicaler Reddit. Anyway.
Let's play typicaler or Redditor.
Anyway, all I'm trying to say is you have to have more than just like a surprise ending. Because people are going to be able to guess it. If the whole movie is built, if the whole show is built on there's a twist ending, it's not going to be enough to sustain it. It's not going to be enough to make you care. What you have to do is make people give a shit about the story and the characters and the plot and everything else. Like you can't just be like, and the twist ending. So many movies after this were like, they're really dead. They're really dead. This and Fight Club, like people were like, oh, it's multiple personalities. Oh, it's really this other. Oh, it's really, and I'm like, oh my God. One, I guessed it because it was obvious because I'd seen those other movies. Two, you didn't try hard enough with the fucking plot. You tried hard enough with the covering it up, but you didn't try hard enough with the characters or the story. Like, there's a blending that has to happen, and people just don't pay attention. And what I like about M. Night Shyamalan movies is that he concentrates so much on the characters. It doesn't fucking matter if the twist sucks or not, or if there is a twist or not. You're just like, oh, the only movie I hate is The Happening, and that's just because Mark Wahlberg's in it. And what is it? Poopy Bechamel? What do you call her? I mean, you say Bechamel.
Right.
You sent me a quote.
I can't remember. I'm trying to remember.
Poopy Bechamel. You're right. This was another T-shirt idea. Poopy Bechamel or something. But like, this is the thing. Like, one of my favorite things was that
I'm fucking hilarious.
when M. Night Shyamalan was talking about Signs, and he was like, people will say to me, the twist in Signs sucked so bad, and he's like, what twist?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
There was no twist ending in that. I never intended for that to be a twist ending, and like that's the thing
A
where
twist
like
a lie can also be a twist,
right? You think that you put this expectation on him that's not necessarily there.
So there's the twist, asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
He gotcha.
Signs is such a fucking good movie, though. I fucking love that movie. Also, that was kind of my introduction to Cherry Jones, who I think is super hot, and was also Sarah Paulson's girlfriend before she started dating. What's her name? Oh, it's something very
Holland
Taylor.
Last namer.
She likes older ladies. Anyway,
who doesn't?
Well, that's fair.
Pedos.
So, gross. What do you recommend? What did you say, Luke Besson? Oh my God, $100.
If you're like me and you haven't seen this since it was new, watch it again. Check it out.
Yeah.
I don't. I'll say again that like I have an appreciation for M. Night because of you. I had not seen anything but this one, I think.
Yeah.
Before we got together?
Probably, yeah. You hadn't seen The Village, which I made you watch. We've
seen The Village. We've seen Signs. We've seen...
the
We
cabin
just
at
watched
the end.
Cabin in
We
the-
watched
not
The
the Cabin.
Happening. It's terrible.
Happening.
I don't recommend that one.
I have not watched. You watched Lady in the Water around
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I watched it around you.
I
watched,
didn't really pay attention.
Okay, I love that one. That one makes me cry.
What else has he got? Oh, we did all the Split movies.
Yeah, we did Unbreakable.
Unbreakable.
Kimmy Split, and then
The Unbreakable Kimmy Split.
we. Sarah Paulson is also in
The Village.
no. The
Oh no, it's Holland Taylor.
no.
Who is it? One of them gays.
Cherry Jones.
So I was right. It's Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson is in the I can't remember what it's called. It's like the sequel to Unbreakable and Split.
Glass.
Yes, Glass. Oh. Yeah, I got to rewatch those, man. Those are so good. I forget this Split was M. Night Shyamalan, honestly. I always forget that is like yeah.
Yeah. Glass is the third one? The last one?
Yes. Number 3.
Yeah, I don't think I like that one.
Really?
I don't like how it ends.
Oh.
I think that's what I remember feeling when we watched it. But anyway. Yeah, I guess anyway, so yeah, I don't know.
What?
If I would recommend.
Oh, okay. I would recommend. Well, here's the thing. I think that I really enjoy M. Night Shyamalan as a director.
Mm-hmm.
And I think not everyone likes his stuff. I think
Right.
because they feel, I think what I interpret as,
I mean, this movie was clearly a double-edged sword.
Correct.
For him.
Correct. What I interpret as character, like trying to make characters more human and more realistic and give them depth. I think other people interpret it as making the story less, like watering down the story.
Huh.
Or watering down the fear of it. Because he'll do a lot of levity. He'll do a lot of like back and forth that's like banter. And I enjoy that because I feel like I do something similar. Like I would, if I was in that situation, I'd probably be doing that. I'd probably be making a joke out of it. I'd probably be saying something sarcastic and someone would be like, shut up, this isn't the time for that. That's 100% how I would. So it resonates a lot with me. But I think people interpret it as like, watering it down or like making it funny when it's not supposed to be, as opposed to how I see it, which is like more realistic and it less like he's not focusing on like the terror of it. He's focusing on the humanity of all of these things. So for me, it makes it way more impactful. And for other people, they're like, but I'm not scared. Like this isn't scaring me. And it's like, I don't know what you need from this. Like for me personally, I mean, I'm not saying that. Obviously, I fucking hate The Happening. I think it's a terrible movie. I think it's stupid. I think it's silly. It's annoying. But I still enjoy aspects of that. Like fucking John Leguizamo in that movie is gorgeous. I mean, first of all, I fucking love John Leguizamo and everything. But like the scene where he fucking crashes his car, gets out, and then bashes his head in on the side. Oh my God. He takes a rock and just bashes his head until he's dead. Oh, fucking terrifying. Like that's a thing. But he's doing that on his way to go save his wife. Yeah. Like it is so fucking terrifying because what's going on? I mean, then it gets ruined because the only two people left over are Poopy Bechamel and Mark Hate Crime Wahlberg. And
see, and I think that's what Knock at the Cabin reminded me most of was The Happening.
I can see that. But I really wanted it to end closer to how the book. I understand them not doing that because I think that would be so not what, people needed to see as a,
Mm-hmm.
But I'd be interested if if they didn't, if they had just like not done it and just like basically, I don't know. Anyway, I would have been interested to see. So
to me, it's like one of the biggest betrayals that filmmakers do to writers.
I'm actually interested. I think sometimes, I mean, Fight Club has a different ending than the book.
Yeah.
And it's considered a much better ending than the book by everyone. Like, no one thinks
By Chucky P?
I think even Chuck Palahniuk thinks it's a
Chucky
better
P's?
ending. Because it ends with somehow everyone from, like, the mental
Chuck
hospital... The mental hospital, like, coming up to the roof to stop him from blowing anything up and him just getting committed.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And it's but it's, like, really weird. Like, there's, like, a guy in a wheelchair, like, on the I
roof?
just remember. Yeah, I remember being like, what the fuck? How did he get there? Like...
I mean, kudos to that building for being...
very accessible.
ADA compliant.
Anyway. What is your favorite of my birthday picks?
Ooh. Oh yeah, we're done, huh?
I know. And I think last weekend's, I think the Silence of the Lambs actually happened around my actual birthday. So but
release.
I think Lambs and I think my birthday happens between these two episodes. So happy birthday to me.
Oh, fuck.
I know. I'm so brokenhearted about that.
It's hard to choose. I mean, like, they all feel very similar because of what I said already, where it's like, oh, I really got more. I feel like I had the most fun rewatching Lambs.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah. I don't know if that makes it
my
favorite film of the four.
Yeah. I think Lambs is probably my favorite out of all of them, but I think it was just such a banger of a month. Like, I don't know how to pick which one was my favorite because I got something out of all of it. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to pick,
Yeah, for real.
I don't feel like there were any duds.
No.
So, which is rare.
I don't think that was ever a question. That was one of the reasons I was like, oh, these are all just
good movies.
Blockbuster movies that
Sorry.
all Oscar contenders. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Did you know that this is the Haley Joel Osment, and I mean, it's not surprising about Haley Joel Osment, but Haley Joel Osment and Toni Collette were nominated for Oscars for this movie.
No, I had no idea.
The only time either
of them?
Yes. Toni Collette. That's
clearly a bias.
Well, yeah, but I'm like, this is why when people are like, oh, the Oscars, I'm like, fuck the Oscars, man. They don't mean shit. Toni Collette has been nominated one time. Come on. Fuck off. Whatever.
I don't know why. I'm a little embarrassed at how attractive I find her. I don't know why I'm embarrassed by that.
Really?
Yeah.
In this movie or just in general?
Specifically this movie?
Yeah, there's something about, I think it's because she looks, I think what it is, I think I get really attracted when people are able to have a completely different look. Like, this is not, like, this is, like, very notoriously nothing like how Toni Collette ever acts or
that was the other one. I was going to say Edie Falco for her role.
Yeah.
Why are you watering down the gin, Mom?
Right. Like, it's like when someone's able to, like, sort of be a little bit of a chameleon, you're like, oh my God. There's something really attractive about that. I like how she looks. She pulls it off so fucking well. She looks so, and the fact that.
Also, I love that. I mean, again, this is just film magic or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, that they're supposed to be struggling. She works multiple jobs. We don't know how many. She just refers to her jobs in multiple scenes. And their house is fucking huge.
Well, yeah, but it's like not nice. It's older and it's an apartment. They just have like.
Isn't it a row house?
A row house?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, cause that neighborhood.
Oh, I thought it was just like one.
When Bruce Willis, that first scene when it's like next fall and Bruce Willis is outside and they get that whole.
I thought it was just an apartment building. I thought it was like, so what I thought it was.
It's fucking huge.
No, I'm saying I think it's like one of those where it's converted. It's a converted house. So it doesn't look huge to me because they have the living space And then they have the little kitchen that's connected to the washroom. And from what I can tell, it's just like her room, his room, and then
that blue toilet.
Yeah, like the bathroom, her room, his room, and then it's the kitchen.
Right.
So
That's
I don't.
huge,
Yeah. So I feel like it's just like a one level apart. Like it's one of those where like each level is just an apartment.
Okay.
So it's converted. I'm just saying that's how I understood it. I don't because it's like there's no more than one level on their apartment, and it's
That's
very
fair.
clearly.
I wasn't going by the exterior, other than those exterior shots are impossibly clean and like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been to any part of Philadelphia, but I'm like South Philadelphia. I born and raised. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where young Will Smith was got in trouble shooting b-ball back in the day.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. That's something I always get hung up with about now, especially because, you know, as a young person growing up, those are things you don't.
Yeah. Right.
And so you internalize.
Right.
Okay.
What?
We're in agreement.
Yeah.
It's a funny dynamic because I'm not finishing any sentences.
True.
That's all.
Yeah, I don't know which one's my favorite out of all these. Obviously, all of them are my favorite because that's the point of this.
Right.
I think I got something more from The Sixth Sense than I thought I was going to because I thought I was going to be a little bit disenchanted by it because it's been so long since I've seen it, and I actually ended up crying so much more than I thought I was going to because it's just so. Oh God, I said this last night, but the scene where Cole. Oh God, this is the thing. This is where, for me, this is where Haley Joel's performance really. Said where when he's in a scene, he actually looks like he's fighting tears like half of the time.
Yeah.
And so like that kicks me in the gut. But the scene where it's like him and Malcolm and they're basically saying goodbye.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's saying, I'm not going to see you again, am I? And he's like, I don't think, I think we've said all we need to say. And he says, what if we pretend that we're going to see each other tomorrow? And oh my God, Haley Joel's voice in that scene is very clearly cracking and he's like such a little tiny child. And he's like, what if we pretend that we're going to see each other? And I'm like,
yeah, I have to fully check out.
I'm like, oh my God. I was just like I was fucking crying. I was like, oh my God, because he's just like, his little child voice is like, and he's like, just for pretend. And he's like, I'll see you tomorrow. And I'm like,
I hate it. I can't.
Oh my God. And then right after that is the scene in the car. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Thanks for reminding me of that because I remembered. I thought some part of the reveal happened when they're in the car. Like I thought the dead cyclist was some kind of reveal.
Oh.
Like once the scene started, I'm like, oh, something happens in this, and I'm like, oh, I mean, it does. It's really in a pivotal scene, but like,
yeah, it's not.
And the way they keep the way it's shot, it leaves space in the frame, so when the dead person shows up, you see them and Cole in the same frame. And the reverse shot of Toni Collette is shot the same way, so there's all this empty space. So I kept being like, something's gonna never happens.
Right. It's so
there's amazing camera work in this.
Oh my God, I know.
Movie. There's so much done with perspective, like POV stuff, especially in the first. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like one that stuck with me was, I don't know if it's a sequence where Toni Collette's character is looking at the photos, but someone else is talking. It's like Cole is talking to. It's like the audio from the previous scene is still going, but it's not quite her perspective because you see her.
Yeah,
the camera's like right behind her and kind of lingers on things as she moves away. And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah,
and she's going through his room and getting the laundry and stuff. that was really interesting. And like, I don't know, just interesting choices. Like, I don't think they all have to mean something, you know?
Oh, right.
But it really just keeps your...
Yeah.
Like, it's not distracting.
Right.
And it keeps my interest. Like, the way they shot when he's in the shopping cart and she's pushing him.
That's such a beauty. I fucking love that. I love that because she pushes him and he's like, you know, he holds his arm out and then she stops and he looks back at her and she's like, and she does that little like thing.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. It gets me. I was like...
No, I like that because I felt it felt like the camera kept rolling beyond what they told the shot was going to be.
And they
stayed in character, or like they didn't really know what to do, but so it felt natural in that way. Well, first of all, the opening sequence with Donnie, and there's several scenes like this where the camera is panning side to side.
Yeah.
And they do it. It's great because you're used to it by this time, but it's right before he shoots himself out of frame.
Yeah.
Like camera is panning just.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then a similar thing happens in the when Cole and Mom are at the table talking about the bumblebee brooch or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they keep panning out of frame back and forth.
The one that breaks my heart is she's like, you got to commute. She's like, our little family's not going to make it. And then it goes back to him.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Stab me in the fucking chest.
I know.
And then the scene where
You've had enough roast beef.
Yeah. Go.
If we can't talk to each other, we're not going to make it. Now tell me, baby. I won't get mad, honey. Did you take the bumblebee pendant?
No.
You've had enough roast beef. You need to leave the table. Go!
If you're not very mad.
Oh my God. But the scene.
That's the scene in Men Don't Leave where he runs away and then they get, you don't
always have to be a good boy. The scene where he's like goes to the bathroom and he's like, you know.
Yeah.
And then he comes out and he sees, you know, a figure and he's like, oh. And he goes in the kitchen. He goes, Mama. And it's so sweet. And then she turns around and it's this horrible woman who's like, oh. It's so
horrible woman who's a victim of domestic violence.
Well, it's horrible because she's like yelling at him.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And like showing him her like suicide, you know, marks. And, you know, she's like, look at what you made me do, you know, kind of shit. And he's like, ooh. And then he goes into the thing and he's like, you know, and he's like freaking, So he, like that kid, like truly, and poor Haley Joel, because he's obviously an extremely talented actor. And like after this, they were like, hey, your life is ruined.
Yeah, I don't know what
your face is never going to grow older than your face is never going to move.
I mean, it's the fate of a child actor. How many make it through?
I mean, he still does acting.
Well, as I say, I know him. He was on Comedy Bang Bang, the TV show. As Slow Joey.
Fucking Christ.
He was great.
I'm sure he was because he's super talented. He's a very talented guy.
Clearly. I think he's been on the podcast.
Of Comedy Bang Bang. He's not been on this podcast.
Oh, shit.
Haley Joel, if you're out there and you want us to say things about your tiny face to your face, let us know.
Or not.
No, I'm not going to be able to hold back.
To your face.
I'm not going to be able to hold back.
Oh God, I had someone else. There's a lot.
There's a lot, yeah. But yeah, this movie's I think I'm just a fan of M. Night Shyamalan, and I refuse to be ashamed of that any longer.
Yeah, good.
Night, if you're out there, hi.
Deuces.
fuck Mark Wahlberg.